It's the Happy Families podcast. It's the podcast for the time-poor parent who just wants answers now.
I say it all the time. Kids spell love T.I.M.E.
And now here's the stars of our show, my mum and dad.
Hey, can I tell you a joke?
Shoot.
Knock, knock. You hate knock, knock jokes, don't you?
Who's there?
I done it.
I done a poo.
Isn't that a good joke?
So bad.
That's
such a dad joke.
So juvenile.
But the kids love it, don't they?
G'day, this is Dr. Justin Coulson. I'm the author of 6 books about how to make families happy. Poo jokes. Poo jokes make families happy, not mums, but everybody else. I'm the founder of happyfamilies.com.au. Who are you?
Who am I?
Well, no, I know who you are, but tell everybody who you are.
I'm Kylie. You call me Mrs. Happy Families from time to time. I don't know how happy I am all the time. And I'm the mum to our 6 daughters.
Today is I'll Do Better Tomorrow. If you're new to the podcast, every Friday we talk about things that we've learned so that we can parent with better intention tomorrow, so that we can be better parents, I don't know, tomorrow, next week, next time we get the opportunity to be parents.
In 5 minutes.
As soon as the podcast's over and we are back with the kids again. Do you want to go first today or do you want me to?
Oh, look, I have to share a little thing that happened last weekend.
Yeah.
Saturday morning is our family clean-up. We spend some time cleaning up. And at the moment...
And don't the kids love it, by the way?
Yeah, that's a whole nother story. But anyway, we've had a lot of rain lately where we live and our garden is overgrown with weeds. And so the last few weekends in particular, we've spent some time out in the garden. Miss Seven burst into our bedroom at 6 a.m. I wasn't even... I probably was awake, only just. But I was still on my bed. And she said, Mummy, have I missed weeding? It's like... No.
Not at 6 o'clock in the morning you haven't.
And she said, oh, phew, that's my favourite.
Right. Oh, wow.
At least one of us likes weeding.
Yeah. We love to get into the garden and weed. I think I'm going to have to buy some spray. I know that's bad for the environment, bad for everything, but I'm sick of spending my Saturday mornings weeding. I'm going to go with I'll Do Better Tomorrow first. I had just another reminder of how sometimes just getting out one-on-one with the kids is hugely, hugely important. So one of the kids had a birthday just the other day. She turned 11. Very excited that she's
not a teenager anymore.
But she was having a kind of a so-so day. I had stacks on as much as I wanted to be fully available for her. It just wasn't going to happen. You were flooded with more to do than was possible. And it's one of those things, right? This is the reality of life. We're supposed to be available and attentive to our children. We're supposed to, well, you and I, I'm the expert. We're supposed to absolutely get this right. And it just wasn't working out for her. So she came to me miserable. And I was so grateful that she did and that she could put her arms around me and explain what was going on. And I said, okay, well, after dinner, what about if I take you out? So we jumped in the car. I said, where do you want to go? She said, let's go get some ice cream. I said, okay, ice cream it is. We went to Cold Rock Ice Creamery. And because I'm a bit stingy, I really don't like going to these ice cream shops where you kind of pay about $8 for a scoop of ice cream. Even if
you can get a litre of ice cream for that.
That's right. You
or
can.
2.
Of the high quality stuff. You can go and get the very best ice cream for about $8 for a litre. And here I am getting a scoop with a few mix-ins. And so we've walked in. I ordered, actually, let me tell you what I ordered. Lemon sorbet with a Raffaello white chocolate mixed into it and some passion fruit. It was amazing. She ordered this.
Sounds like all of your favourite things squashed into one little cup.
Oh, I was in heaven. Anyway, she ordered this bubblegum ice cream with all the sour nerds and all that sort of stuff. She asked if she could try mine. I'm like, oh, it's lemon sorbet. She's not going to like that. She had one bite and her eyes lit up and she's like, oh, can I have yours? I was like, oh, no. So I had to share my ice cream with her. I gave her about half of my lemon sorbet.
Well, it was her birthday.
It was her birthday.
I'm guessing you didn't eat the rainbow and nerds.
No, then I ate half of hers. But what was so cool about it is there was just this beautiful genuineness. There was this sharing, and it reminded me again of why I love these kids so much. And it reminded me again of why it's so important that we have that one-on-one time. I say it all the time. Kids spell love T.I.M.E. Dollars are the currency of our economy. Connection is the currency of our relationships. I walked out there and I thought, I really hated spending, I think it was $17 for 2 ice creams. Like, it just killed me. I was like, no, who does this? And yet, I reckon if it cost me $17 a week to to have an experience like that once a week with each of the kids, I'd do it. I'd have to work out a lot harder in the gym to get over it, but I would do it. That's such a small price to pay for such beautiful connection. Don't need to have ice cream to make the connection, but just a really beautiful experience. Made me grateful for the kids, made me grateful to be a parent, and I thought, yep, next week I've got to make sure that I do this with one of the other kids as well. It's special.
Maybe this time you might go and do something active instead of scoffing down some ice cream.
Maybe we can do both. Let's find out about your I'll Do Better tomorrow next.
It's the Happy Families Podcast.
For a happier family, try a Happy Families membership, because a happy family doesn't just happen. Details at happyfamilies.com.au.
It's the Happy Families Podcast, the podcast for the time-poor parent who just wants answers now. And today we are talking about reflections on our week. I'll do better tomorrow.
Yeah, how can we be better parents and learn from what's happened this week so that we can do more of the good stuff or less of the bad stuff? I've shared mine. What's yours?
Look, it's no secret. I am one of those parents who often will just do everything myself because it's just easier. I don't have to go back and repeat what the kids have done because they haven't done a good enough job.
Right.
And then I'm left feeling frustrated
Yep.
because there's not enough hours in the day to do it all.
Not even close.
And so the other day I was feeling a little bit swamped. It was during school holidays and there was a lot to do. There's a lot of bodies in the house, and so the house was just not up to scratch. But I had an appointment that I had to go to, which meant that the kids, if I left them to their own devices, would literally be on devices. And so I said to them, girls, today is a bit of a cleaning up day, and unfortunately I have an appointment to go to, but I've written a list of all the things that need to be done, and I would just love it if while I'm gone, you work on that list. So I didn't hand out any assignments. There was just a list to be done. I was actually really blown away. I came home. Not only was there absolute peace in the house, I couldn't believe. They were all engaged in doing a job.
Wow.
They were all engaged. And when I asked our 7-year-old whether or not she'd been helpful, fully expecting that she would have just done her own thing, gone off and played in the garden, she said, no, I've been helping Annie. So Annie had been taking her around and actually helping her do jobs as part of the process. My list had gone, they'd probably done about a third of the things off the list. And I was just really proud of them.
So what's the take-home message? Go out more and leave the kids in charge? Is that what you're saying? Because that's a bit of a one-off. I don't remember that happening before.
No, it doesn't happen very often at all. What it allowed me to reflect on is the fact that if we don't give our children opportunities to surprise us, they never will.
Oh, beautiful. And the other thing that I take from that is that it does get easier. For any parents who are listening and you're parents of little kids and you're thinking, oh my goodness, this is just driving me insane, why don't the kids do anything? They actually start to when you give them those opportunities, particularly as they get older. We really hope that you've enjoyed the Happy Families podcast. Before we wrap things up, a really important reminder. This Sunday is Anzac Day. And it's a day that matters because we get to remember the sacrifice of those who have given their lives or given their lives in service, even if they haven't died from their service, so that we can live in the free, safe, prosperous country that we enjoy.
You know, as I've gotten older, Anzac Day has become more meaningful as I've come to understand the sacrifice that these men and women gave so that we could have the freedoms that we experience. And it never hit me as hard as it did the year I lost my grandfather. My grandfather was actually captured by the Japanese and was in self-isolation for 3 years during World War II. And as a result, he was left a really wounded person. He never talked about the war. Outside of that, I don't know much about his experiences, but I remembered going to that first Anzac parade following his passing and just being so overwhelmed at all that he had lost, and as a result I had lost as his granddaughter, and not really knowing who he really was because he just retreated into himself. And so Anzac has become a really important part of my family story as each year I reflect on the sacrifice that he gave specifically, but I guess across the board.
Yeah, and when you look at that sacrifice and the cost that it took, his life, but also your parents and now you, the way that those relationships have been affected, and then you multiply that across every family, every individual that's been affected by these terrible wars, it gives you some sense of just how incalculable the cost of war is. My favourite Anzac Day ever was 2020 during the COVID lockdown. We walked to the bottom of our driveway, we lit a candle, we listened to the last posts as we watched up and down the street other families doing the same as the sun came up. It was a really, I would call it a sacred experience. So we hope that this weekend you and your family have the opportunity to remember them, lest we forget. The Happy Families podcast is produced by Justin Rulon from Bridge Media. Craig Bruce is our executive producer. If you'd like more information about how you can make your family happier, you can find it at happyfamilies.com.au.